So I wanted to know, what has been your most impactful or significant moment for you as a voice actor or actor that you will always remember?
There are a lot of them, but the one that I always come back to when I'm asked this question or something similar is Steins. I love when I get that reaction. I think Steins, it's like a trigger. People are like, so let me, a long rambling answer. Are you familiar with Steins?
Yes.
Okay, so you'll kind of know. And for those of you that aren't, I'll try to not speak in spoilers. It's a hard thing to talk about and not be like, oh, and then this happened, and then this person died, and then, oh, crap. So I'll try to not give anything away, but except to say, plug. Those of you who haven't seen Steins Gate, I say without hesitation that it's probably one of the finest series I've ever gotten to work on. It's just perfect. Like, there's nothing about it I would change. Nothing at all. And I was given the opportunity to work on it as a lead writer along with Patrick Seitz, who I love to death, and who's a sublime writer. We work together really well. I feel like we share a brain, like 75% of which is his. The show itself just spoke to me, and I loved Okabe, the main character. I'm like, oh, I understand this guy. I get him. This is totally me at that age, without all the smarts. Totally me. And I just got it. And when I got the chance to actually play him, which I didn't know I would be given, I thought, oh, surely not. I'm writing it. I'm not going to put me in the lead role as well. That's a nightmare scenario, because then it's like you lose your writer and your main actor if something goes wrong. And it's also, I don't like to do it because it's really, it's a lot of pressure on you if you're the lead in a show that you're also the lead adapted writer on, because then you've got no one to blame but yourself if the line isn't working. You're like, who wrote this? Oh, so it's kind of, it was really stressful. But the show itself was so good that I was glad to do it, and glad really had this intense experience. But because of the turnaround time, we were writing scripts and recording at the same time. There's a lot of overlap. Patrick and I worked on the first 3 or 4 scripts together. Those were compiled into audition sides, and then once they started recording, as I cast us, and they started recording, and then the rest of the show got written kind of stair-steps. Just from, we were only ever about 3 episodes ahead of what was being recorded in the booth. And because Okabe is a very chatty character, imagine me playing him, right? My day for about, it felt like a year, but it was probably really only about 4 or 5 months, where I would go in for, on average, an 8-hour day in the booth. 8 hours is a long time to record. It's hell on the voice, even if it's just your normal speaking tone. And it was really emotionally intense. It was like, it might be 4 hours here, 3 hours here, but it was generally 8 hours a day. Then I have to come home and work on a script for a later episode for another 2, 3, 4 hours, and then just get up and repeat the whole cycle. So, for the first time in my career, and really the only time, hopefully the only time I will ever have to do this, I was so immersed in this one show that I didn't have time for anything else. In my personal life either. Like, I didn't have time to go out and have fun with my friends. I didn't have time to be me. I just sort of became Okabe. And it worked beautifully, because I was always ready to go, hit the ground running when we went in to record. I was never, ever, I had never had to find the voice or never had to, like, listen to a reference. I was like, yeah, let's just go, because I'm already here. Which was great. But there's a scene, about halfway through, and everyone who's seen it knows what I'm talking about. It's a scene when he's in the back seat of the car, and everyone's like, and it's an intense emotional scene. It's probably just the original Japanese is probably one of the most genuinely emotional and just devastating moments I've ever seen. It's very quiet. It's very real. There's not like a lot of explosions, not a lot of spectacle going on. It's just this very real moment where this character Okabe, who, for the most part of the show, like, part of his charm is that he's an arrogant jerk. He's loving, and he really deep down you can see that he loves everybody, but he's one of those sort of misfits that never quite found their place and has never quite found his context or feels very at home in the world or around people, so he kind of masks that with this very arrogant attitude and is always like blah, 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 blah. But deep down the audience can see that he's just a scared kid. That doesn't really know who he is, and he's trying desperately. Well, as things get realer and as the show progresses, like that coping mechanism of being the arrogant sort of mad scientist stuff doesn't work anymore, and he knows it. And so we see him for the first time in that scene, I think, is the first time we see him just just cut down to size when he is like literally going, I am nothing, please just don't do this horrible thing, I know this is about to happen. It's all about time travel, so he knows something's going to happen that he can't stop, but he can't help but want to stop it, and he knows it's sort of, just pushing a boulder up a hill, and he is just so unraveled in that scene, and just watching it and having to adapt to the writing in that scene killed me, because I'm like, okay, like trying to cry and like act it out at homes, because I act things out as I write them. And then a few weeks later, having to go and record that very scene, I just had this breakdown where it's I believe it's episode 13 or 14. Forgive me for not knowing exactly when, because for me the whole thing is one big story, so I never know what episode is what. But it's a scene in the backseat of the car when he is just pleading, basically at peril, great peril to his own life. He's pleading for the life of a friend, and it's so desperate. It's one of the best things I've ever seen animated. It's one of the best. It's just such a real moment that just completely kills you every time you watch. I can't watch the scene. But when we were doing it, I had an honest-to-God breakdown and just started crying and was trying to get through the lines. And what I was saying earlier about just being in the moment and letting yourself be swept up was a great example of just like, I'm going to do this anyway because I'm already here, why not? And there was no wrong way to be in that scene because I was like, and I had to like stop and I like balled myself up in the corner for a second because I was kind of hyperventilating. And Colleen Clinkenbeard, the show's director, was wonderful. Was like, she knows me very well, so she's like, honey, and I'm like, ugly cry. So she's like, let's take a break. You need to go and splash some water in your face, walk around the building, whatever. Schedule this for another day, we'll do it. I'm like, no, it's fine. We're fine. So I'm like walking through, and everyone sees me and thinks that Colleen has just been beating me. What is she doing to me? And they're like, it's fine, I deserved it. And I'm walking through, and about 15, 20 minutes later, I feel like, okay, let's go again. And I walk in, and Colleen turns around in her swivel chair and goes, I have some excellent news and a choice to make. Like, the good news is everything you did worked. So if you want to do it again, you're all for it. I'm all for it. We can do it. But we have what will work, and I think it's beautiful. If you don't mind everyone in the world knowing what you actually sound like when you're having a breakdown. And I think I just looked at her, and there was this beat, and I was like, do it. I don't want to do it again. So, it's since now become a shameless plug for Steins. Like, if you want to hear J. Michael Tatum have a genuine breakdown, episode 14 of Steins is your baby.